Hello, all you crazy cats and kittens out there in pod person land. Welcome back to another episode of Stand-Up Teardown. I'm your host, Sean Fau, and joining me as always is my ever so righteous co-host, Mr. Matthew Ballek.
Oh, righteous indeed.
That's a callback.
That's a callback?
That is.
From what, last episode?
Yeah, man. The one that's been banned from YouTube.
Cuts. What is this?
Oh, wait, no.
Development?
Exactly. Our previous episode is still up, but, you know, watch it while you can, because who knows when they're going to take that one down, too.
For a limited time only. Yeah, I guess the teardown is becoming part of the copyright holder's job, exactly. Not ours.
Yeah. We are getting teared down ourselves. So,
exactly.
You can
no one wants you to talk about stand-up comedy. We are being canceled.
Apparently, that's why there's no shows like ours, because you can't do it.
The logistics. Well, we're learning the hard way.
Exactly.
And not changing a thing about it.
Absolutely not. We'll just keep sending angry emails. The backup plan is you can find the missing episodes on Rumble. I don't know if YouTube's going to get mad at me for saying that, but everything is available there currently too. So, you know, if you want to see those ones that don't exist on your YouTube feed, go on over to the green monster there, and they will let anything fly. So, at least for now,
for our more reasonable listeners, how alt-right is Rumble right now?
Okay, well, for those of us outside of the timeline, we are just past the Trump unaliving possibility event. So, yeah,
I don't want a Tenacious Diaz, so let's not even bring it up.
But in general, like anything, it's as whatever wing as you want. So from what I've seen, it's, you know, if you want the crazy leftist stuff, you can find it. If you want the crazy right stuff, it's mostly just people that aren't allowed other places. So, like, you know, yeah. So
like OnlyFans without nudity.
Kind of, yeah, basically. OnlyFans for your brain, man. Yeah, so, well, let's get
into some... You ready to jump into some stand-up?
Yeah, let's tear it down, bro. Who do we got up first?
We got up first, Jason Salmon. You have to say it like that when it's a last name, not Salmon. With his stand-up special, Biscuits and Gravity. I thought it was Gravy. Is my dyslexia. And then, this is a native Texan stand-up comedian. Colloquial philosophy and absurdist observations have made him a must-see for comedy fans of all ages, is what he says.
For all ages. So is this like some more fucking the dry bar shit?
I don't know. This is not a dry bar clip, so hopefully...
Right,
you know,
yeah, hopefully the copyright
won't get flagged
after us. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, let's see what this guy's got.
Oh, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. Welcome. For those of y'all who know me, thank you so much. For those who don't, I want to get this off the table right up front. I look racist. I know that. I'm not, but I understand it's how my head's shaped. Think about it. If I had come up here and the first thing I said was, I love black people, everybody in here would be like, this feels weirdly uncomfortable when you say that. My friends tell me, they're like, Jason, just shave. Then you won't look racist.
It is the mustache, right?
Very much so, yeah. It's that cop stash. If you had some like mirrored sunglasses on, you'd definitely, fear for your life.
Oh, yeah, there would definitely be like a Punisher t-shirt involved.
A scrawny dude with a Punisher t-shirt. That's just,
I love it.
That's not true at all. It's not. I will still look racist. I just won't look ignorant anymore. Which is way worse. I think it's better to look like you're headed to a rally than to look like you organized the rally. And I just have one real quick favor to ask of all you normal-looking white people. Can you just not do racist stuff, please? Don't, because guess who gets asked about it first? Yeah. And probably you occasionally, maybe, you know? Yeah. And I've spent all my time...
That was interesting, a split screen audience shot there. I think that might be the first time we've seen that other than...
Stand-up Teardown first, a split screen audience react.
Indeed. Who was the dude that was doing the little pop-up videos of the audience? I can't remember his name, but that was also a pretty novel approach to it.
Either. Yeah, he was another like multi-hyphenate comedian, like comedian, rapper, performer, younger dude.
Totally. Anything involving a mic.
Mm-hmm.
Explaining how I'm not racist. And you know what sounds terrible coming out of this face? The phrase, I'm not racist. Yeah, because most people think I'm only halfway done with that sentence.
This guy's like, I'm loving his like self-awareness already. Like, it's just like such a pro move to get the audience on your side. Like, just to do that check on like, I know it can be kind of hack. Like, I know what I look like, but he's just kind of nailing it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if it's his whole act, then it becomes hack very quick. But like, this is like a 50-minute special apparently. So getting a little bit of that, and like, it's the fat guy doing a couple of fat guy jokes, but not an entire fat guy routine, or like, the little person doing a couple of little person jokes, or like, I've seen some like deaf comedians who like do deaf jokes or whatever. Like, whatever that like initial reaction is that the audience is going to give you because you've gotten it every fucking time. Like, just throw it out there and own it, and like that way you can move past it, sort of thing.
No, absolutely. And also totally hack joke, but are there literally deaf comedy jams?
I don't know that I've seen a jam, but I've definitely seen some deaf comedians.
Okay, good.
Look like this because I'm from Texas. That's what this is. This is what hours inside a football helmet under extreme heat will do to the human head. I actually grew this facial hair for my parents, so they would know that if need be, I could work the land. But I do understand that I look like the enemy. I do, not just racially. I look like every enemy. Whatever your cause is, I look like the picture on your poster board with the red line through it. I understand that. I can't wear a sweater vest and walk past a playground on the same day. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't like watching the news anymore because when they introduce a new villain, there's a 1 in 3 shot. He looks like me. That's not. I found out this year I look like a Russian arms dealer. That was a bad news day.
Shit, dude. If he shaved, he would look like the guy that shot Trump.
Oh shit!
Just a little touch of incel, and he might be a little bit too brawny for it. That football didn't work out for him too well. But that's he's definitely got a point, man. Fuck
me. And the Me Too movement happened, or since I'm a guy, the You Maybe movement. And I had to look back on my relationships. I had to think, was I sensitive to their needs? Did I communicate well? I know I wasn't equipped. Because I learned about the birds and the bees from my dad, who is not what I would consider a nuanced thinker when it comes to human intimacy. My dad grew up around cattle. There weren't a lot of times we discussed women where he didn't use the word haunches.
So good.
For those of y'all who don't know what haunches are, that is the fleshy part around the hindquarter, all right? And for those of y'all who don't know how women work, do not ever use the terms fleshy, hindquarter, or haunches. If you ever want one to follow you home, it's not gonna happen. I learned about electricity before I learned the birds and the bees, and I'm pretty sure that's the wrong order. I am. I mean, it makes sense. At first, you got the male component, the plug, right? And the female component, the outlet. But after that, it goes off the rails. I mean, that plug's got 2 prongs. That's double what I'm bringing to the table already.
Yeah, that I wasn't quite sure where he was going with that, but it definitely worked out. Yeah, again, going back to kind of our main points that we usually hit on, like he's got some stage presence, he's definitely got some mic time, he's confident and decent joke structure. I would say he
look
could
at
use
that posture.
Exactly. Oh, dude, that's some football posture there. That's
shoulders back. Yeah, he's owning that.
Take a knee shit. But he could own the stage a little bit more. He's pretty stiff there. And
you want him to Dane Cook it up a little bit more?
I don't know. I always
prowl the stage.
I don't know about necessarily prowling, but I do think you. I think you do come across a little bit more confident and casual if you are kind of, utilizing the space a little bit more. Again, it might always come back to the, being used to performing in, tiny basement stages and not being able to move, so that, doesn't become part of your repertoire. But like, you think about like the really big comedians, very few of them are planted. Like, even, well, I hate to invoke the name of Bill Cosby, but, he is a classic great comedian regardless of his personal life escapades. But like, even when he would sit down, he would still like, use his body and use his movement, and then he'd get up and move again. Like there's something just kind of visually compelling and confident about being able to utilize the stage like that. I always kind of feel like that's kind of one of like the last steps to becoming a really great comic sort of thing. I mean,
I don't know. I'm torn on that one, because I think it's just about like the material and the kind of performer you are.
Sure.
Because like, yeah, would this be any better if he like walked to the right or left? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. It also comes from, the visual medium versus listening to it on an album. If you're listening on an album, honestly though, I do still think that energy comes through. I think that like, that sort of, addressing different parts of the audience and engaging with like different areas. I think that it does bleed through into the audio only, auditory only, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference, or maybe I'm just looking for something
still
to
just
nitpick
like,
on.
yeah,
But
reminded of like what Dane Cook's Comedy Central presents, like that like original one. I think you can hear the audio. You can just kind of sense that he's face humping an audience member after a set. I don't know if you remember that. That was just such a 90s move. But he literally like walks up after a set, grabs someone's head, and then just starts to pound it into his crotch.
Yeah. Speaking of Me Too, that would not be allowed today. But
that's a cancelable event.
Very much so. But yeah, there's case in point, there's, going too far with that. So there are varying degrees of everything.
And those outlets, when I was growing up, they all looked exactly the same, and they behaved exactly the same. And all you ever had to do was plug that thing in, and everything turns on. And that is not how that works at all. If those outlets were more accurately feminine, they would have buttons and toggle switches and knobs that you just have to find. And some you push, and some you stroke, and some you just whisper to.
I don't know if I've ever heard that like,
sometimes
kind of angle or bit before. Just plugs, like the analogy between plugs and intercourse. Like I don't know. It's kind of fun. Like back and forth on it.
I mean, my day job is in the audiovisual arts, so there is always the male and female
totally differently.
My day job is OnlyFans. Catch me with it. But in the audiovisual, or all electronics are always male and female, and they have been. So like, there's always lowbrow jokes around it, but this guy is definitely mining it way more professionally and way more comedically than most of your union grips are.
Than your former coworkers, yes.
Basically, yeah.
Sit by the outlet and talk to her for a while, see how his day's going. Every once in a while, you're going to plug that thing in, the light's going to pretend to turn on, and you got to roll with it. Look, I'm not saying I know how parents should talk to their kids about this stuff. I don't. I'm just saying maybe do it before you teach them to install a ceiling fan. That's probably a better move. But don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I love my life. I love that I live in New York City, being from Texas, because every time somebody finds out, I get a reaction immediately. Something like clear eyes, full hearts. That's fun. That's a fun one, right?
That one came to mind when I saw the mustache as well. The clear eyes, full hearts. I think that's a Friday Night Lights reference.
Oh, right on. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm not familiar.
Not up on the football shows, high school football shows, or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
A little weirder of late. Somebody hears I'm from Texas, they'll be like, "Blessed be the fruit." I don't know how to exactly. I'm like, all right, that's fair. I get it. Because people think Texans are as mean as our politicians. They do, and we're not. We do like to go to Cancun in the winter. That part's true. But most Texans I know are kind, sweet, empathetic people. I'm very empathetic. I am. My pronouns are you and y'all. I mean, come on. But I do love that I grew up in.
Not a bad pronoun joke.
It's probably like the most
overused a bit, but yeah.
Well, I would say it's the most tepid or the most like universally acceptable pronoun joke. Like it's not the most inoffensive pronoun joke I've heard. It'll say. Yeah,
it went over well at the crowd. What was? Do you recall Roseanne Barr's?
No.
I'll have to look it up, but it's something along the lines like my pronouns are "fuck you" or something. It was like, okay.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's whatever.
I've spent most of my professional life in New York City because those are the two places in America that most tie their identity to their geography. People from Texas love to tell you about that. Makes them feel tough. People from New York City love to tell you that. Makes them feel smart. And I've lived in both places, and I can tell you that neither one of those is accurate at all. I know a lot of dumb New Yorkers and a lot of Texans who are afraid of chihuahuas. Or as my friends in Texas pronounce it, chihuahuas. Yeah, because that's a Spanish word. And in Texas, we refuse to speak any language other than English. And that includes proper English, which we consider technically British. But I am glad that I grew up that way. I am, and I think I'm fortunate to have grown up Generation X, too. We got any Gen Xers in here? Yeah, I don't even care. That's how Gen X I am. That's a calling card of our generation, right? It's not even dismissive to a Gen Xer. It's like, I don't care. I don't care also. Nice to meet you. What generation are you? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. If y'all don't like this joke, guess what? Yeah. You're only going to give me more cred as a Gen Xer. You'll only make me more powerful. But we are a lucky generation. We're the only generation currently alive that didn't spend our youth with America at war. Think about that. Boomers had Vietnam. Millennials, everybody after. Afghanistan. We had this long stretch of relative peace. I mean, George Bush sent a few guys to Kuwait for like a long weekend. It's like, all right, was that a war? Not by American standards. That was not a war. Felt like more of an excursion, to be honest. By the way, we had the best George Bush, Generation X. We had the George Bush that wore glasses and had exit strategies. That was a better model of George Bush. In Gen X, we call that George Bush Classic.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of Gen X material coming from comedians. You know, it's always fuck the boomers or fuck the millennials or yay to either one. But like Gen X, since we don't care, we get overlooked. That's just.
Yeah, that is part of it. But yeah, no, it's certainly like it did like ring a bell for me where I'm like, oh, I'm not used to Gen X as a premise. Yeah, you said it's always other generations, boomers, millennials, like always skipped.
The only Gen X joke I've seen in a long time was recently on Twitter. I can't even
not fly on the wall.
Yeah, no shit. Sorry, my references are growing. Well, no, I mean, due to the turmoil recently, Twitter has been a main vein of news lately. But someone had mentioned that Gen X has been skipped over politically as well because J.D. Vance was nominated as the vice president. So we're passing the torch directly from a boomer to a Gen Z or a millennial, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah, I even fucked up that joke. So that's why I'm not on stage.
Well, good thing you don't care.
What's that?
It's a good thing you don't care.
Yeah, true. And I don't care enough to steal someone else's joke and not credit them. So, fuck you, Twitter.
But it's easy to spot that we're a lucky generation because we're sandwiched between the two most dynamically angry generations currently alive. We are. Boomers and millennials hate each other. They do. I hear it all the time. It's like, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. I'm like, hey, you're both right. Chill out. But I get it. I get why they're two angry generations, because these are two generations that experience these huge swings between human achievement and human disappointment, right? Boomers established civil rights, fair housing, but in order to get there were assassinations, race riots, KKK. Millennials elected the first black president in American history, and then they elected the next president who brought back race riots and the KKK. I mean, it's just full circle. And then in the middle, Gen X, we just watched Soul Train and listened to hip hop and fell in love with Oprah and all the Michaels. It was a great generation for Michaels in America. We had Tyson, Jordan, Jackson. Generation X had the best Michael Jackson. We had Moonwalk Michael Jackson. That is the greatest Michael Jackson ever. Boomers, you had little Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, cute, talented, but nowhere near Thriller level Michael Jackson. Millennials, y'all had documentary Michael Jackson.
That's an excellent phraseology to put that in.
Yeah, documentary Michael Jackson. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
No. That is a confusing applause point, I gotta be honest with you. But that's the thing, millennials had the worst of a lot of things. They did. Millennials introduced ghosting to the world as a way to end a relationship. In Gen X, ghosting just meant that Demi Moore's boyfriend had to die to become remotely interested in her pottery hobby. And I hear people criticize millennials for being the participation trophy generation, but I have to remind them this is a generation that grew up in the shadow of 9/11. They graduate college at the '08 financial crash. They finally climb out of their parents' basement, and the whole world just shuts down for 2 years. They experience a lifetime flood or fire or recession almost every year. If that's what they've got to participate in, give them a trophy. Just give them a trophy. I'm glad some of them are still
angles on stuff. Like, yeah, he doesn't take like the easy angle or joke on a lot of this. So yeah, he's definitely like, yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Stand-up writer.
The subjects he's choosing could easily become hacky, but he's finding the angles that are at least novel or not the status quo or the, like you said, the easiest way to go. He's mining it for a little bit more comedic value, but also, like, again, getting into that previous dry bar conversation, he's keeping it pretty clean. Like, it's not anything that would be offensive to really anyone, but it's solid all the way through.
Yeah, no, I would say this is for all ages so far.
Yeah.
Participating, to be honest with you. Because I think the key to understanding a generation is you got to understand the world that they grew up in. People say millennials are self-involved. We're all self-involved. It's just that millennials learn to embrace it, and that's disturbing to the rest of us. I understand that. But it's not a character flaw. It's a product of their environment. Think about it. Millennials grew up with GPS. Every time they went on a journey, sitting next to them with this robot navigation butler just whispering precise step-by-step instructions in the soothing voice of their choosing. And then when they look at the map, it's telling them that they are the center of the universe. No matter how far they go or which direction they're headed, they're just this bright blue orb of hope that the entire world just arranges itself around. That's going to mess with your sense of self. It is. And of course, it's going to irritate boomers because every time they went on a trip, the thing giving them directions was a disappointed spouse or parent. And not in the voice of their choosing, but in the voice they hated most in the whole world. That's why boomers will never be fully comfortable around a GPS. It's just too nice.
Yeah, man, that's the GPS millennial jokes are a dime a dozen, but he's finding the area and he's not digging into the, we had printed out MapQuest shit. Like, he's finding just different routes to go, pun intended.
Yeah. Tapping into totally different veins than I'm was expecting. So yeah, pleasantly surprised thus far with this.
Yeah.
With this comedian.
Give him a little bit more here.
Yeah, Have you ever been in the car with a boomer and a GPS at the same time? It is a fight to the death. That is navigational Highlander in that car. I'll be driving down the road with my mom, and that GPS is like, turn right and 1,000 feet. And my mom's like, don't you do it. Don't you dare turn right. I'm like, Mom, I love you, but I'm going to go with the thing that can see traffic from the sky today. That's how we're doing this journey. But I understand her perspective, too, as a boomer. Because when boomers went on trips, they had to know things. They had to have skills. They had to start preparing the night before by unfolding a map that was sometimes the size of their house. And the first thing they had to do was figure out where they even were on the map. Think about that. If every time you went on a trip, your first step was to find yourself, do you realize the level of existential stability that requires? That's why every time a boomer reaches their destination, their first 10 minutes of conversation is just, how did you get here?
Yeah, I'm going to let him go on that one. But yeah, definitely some quality comedy there from our friend Jason Salmon. Salmon,
yeah. Biscuits and Gravity. Yeah, I would definitely give that a watch. Like I'll go back to that. Like I'm loving his takes on things. Like yeah, definitely very unique and not what I was expecting. So
yeah, and definitely family friendly. Yeah.
Agreed. All ages, as they say.
Yeah. Hey, I'm all ages.
Hey.
Who do we got up next?
We have up next is Naomi Karavani with her stand-up special Firecracker. This is a comedian writer based in New York City, known for her sardonic wit and captivating stories.
Isn't that everyone in New York?
Yeah, basically. You know, just walking around with their sardonic wit.
Indeed, yeah. Being all sardonic over here.
All right. Thank you so much for coming out here. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out to this. I've been preparing for this for a long time. I've been traveling around, going to different cities. And when you leave New York, you know, everybody's so polite. Uber drivers, very chatty. Got to Nashville. Everybody was like, what brings you to town? And I'm like, a mistake. Clearly. And I was like, you know,
New York hates small town. Uh-oh.
Oh, Sean's already off this comedian.
I was okay with her. It's just I got to call out the sort of, trope, I guess. Yeah, it's borderline hack, but we'll see where she goes with it.
let me talk to this
Sardonic.
What's that?
Too sardonic for you?
Absolutely, yeah.
driver. I'm like, I'm a comedian. I'm doing some shows in town. Then he said, did anybody ever tell you look like Amy Winehouse? Which is fine. But then he said, sorry? And then he said, she's pretty, right? I'm like, well, sir, you seem unsure. I would have been fine going about my day thinking I looked like Amy Winehouse, but now I have so many questions. Like, are we talking to Amy Winehouse pre or post addiction? What are we saying here? And was that a compliment or an insult? Usually say sorry for insults. It made me miss New York a little bit because, like, nobody's throwing around sorries.
I feel like there were more tags she was missing in there. The tags just weren't. They could use a little bit more polish or a little bit more punch there. Like,
is the audience like not mic'd well? Because yeah, I'm not getting a lot of feedback yet, but maybe it's still like building up.
She might just not be that funny.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah. Now that was a little too early to be that mean to her. She's doing all right.
Don't belong, right?
What was that?
So don't tear it down so quick.
All right. Jesus.
Sorry here is like I love you. You save it for special occasions. Sorry is almost as rare as the will you marry me in City Limits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't have a job right now, which is why these plans.
That felt like an awkward cut. Like
that might have actually just been a cut, right?
Yeah, or like a two-set thing. But
yeah, because there was no transition.
Yeah.
Fine.
Very expensive. People who work from home are like my natural enemy since we're both at home doing the same thing. Nothing, but you're getting paid for it. It's so unfair. And a lot of people who are working from home, they're not working at home. They're working from all the places everyone else likes to relax. Right? You've seen them in the coffee shops with dual monitors. Right? Headsets on. They're on Zoom at full volume. The coffee shop in my neighborhood, it has all the vibes of air traffic control. I go in there, I'm getting secondhand Zoom. I'm unemployed, but I'm getting my annual review. I'm like, this is not what I came here for. Have you tried to go to a coffee shop and just chat with a friend recently? No, you can't. There's an LLC headquartered there. Are you nuts? You gotta go somewhere else. There's always some crisis going on in the graphic design industry that day. It's insane. Yeah. But yeah, I lived in DC for a number of years. It has a bad reputation as a boring place, but more drugs are legal in DC than there are in New York. Yeah, it's amazing. But nobody can do them because they work government jobs. It's like, it's a cruel practical joke played on an entire city. But I'm like, is the government really worried that people are gonna smoke weed and spill government secrets? Like, you guys know the side effect of weed. Talking, that's not one of them. I had a friend take a strong edible, she went mute for 3 weeks. Like, maybe you should put it in the water, I don't know. I think they're worried like somebody in the military will smoke weed. You can't have that. They gotta look tough. You can't have a 4-star general smoke a fatty. And then he just calls up the Taliban to apologize. He's like, these past 20 years, was I being weird? Was I? To me, honestly, it's like a little bittersweet that all these drugs are becoming legal.
I feel like she's dropping the ball in a lot of these, like, decent setups, but not like really mining the punchlines that they could be.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of laughs out. Yeah, I mean, I'm like enjoying it. Like, I think it's just, like getting pulled along by her confidence, like stage presence and everything.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, honestly, the stage presence is being fucked by the editing, but that's a whole other issue. Like the transition, there's a lot of like weird cuts in here that just feel like forced or awkward, or like they're cutting out a few words or like silence or something. Like, I don't know. There's definitely some
Some hard turns. I'm feeling it.
My condolences to the editor, or my shame to the editor. I don't know. Let's see if they figure it out.
All right, because how do we know who's cool? I was cool back in the day because I bought drugs from a guy named Nipper. Now you can get drugs from converted ice cream trucks on Bushwick Avenue. It's so unfair. And okay, maybe I wasn't arrested, but I did trip hard enough on acid to realize my mind is a prison, okay? I'm a millennial. I don't have other stories. I have tripping in the woods and 9/11, and that's it. So what am I supposed to tell my grandchildren? They're gonna be like, Grandma, you did medicine for fun? There's psychedelics in our Flintstones vitamins. Like, we're microdosing right now. I think in the future, we're not going to be able to tell children not to do drugs since we're discovering all these medical benefits, right? So what's the DARE program going to become, huh? You're just going to have a police officer walk into the classroom and he's going to be like, all right, kids, just talk to your doctor and find out if ketamine is right for you. Ketamine is such a popular drug in New York City right now, right? Oh my God, it's insane. If you don't know what it is, it's...
Yeah, that's also a weird transition there. Like, it just almost, like, it was a transition, but it was just a weird sort of like pacing to it. Yeah. But also there was a few months when I was getting offered ketamine on Facebook ads, so I don't know how that's...
Oh, I've been there too, yeah.
It's a party drug, which is also horse tranquilizer, so... It does cure COVID. If you've ever taken it, it makes you lose total control.
Are very weird. Are you feeling that? Like they look like they showed like a different quality camera or something. How it goes.
I mean, part of it is going to be that the lighting is going to be different, so they have to change the settings on the camera, even if they are the same camera. So it's, going to look different. Like you can see here, there's almost like no light on the audience, so you'd have to like jack up the gain or the ISO to get there. But like there was a weird cutout with the audio when they went to the audience. It's like each camera is on a different audio track, I think, which is like why it feels a little more jarring with every cut. Because like,
interesting.
Her audio seems to be changing from camera to camera, and like especially when they went to the audience, her audio changed a lot. Like it wasn't even on mic. So I don't know. Feels like they I'm gonna blame the editor again. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to hide edit points with the audience go-tos.
Sure. Yeah, that's always an easy transition to make too.
Your legs, and people love to take it before they go out dancing in New York. So no one is dancing to the music in clubs anymore in New York. Everybody's just moving like they're on a sinking ship, and they're desperately holding on to the wall. And this is not just me, okay? Vice News just came out with an article that said ketamine is killing the dance floor. Vice News. Are you guys familiar with the work that outlet puts out? Vice News, the guys who brought you vodka-soaked tampons are like, ketamine is killing the dance floor. Yeah, they interviewed DJs who are like, people are disassociating too hard to my dubstep. I was at this club this year, and this girl started to massage.
Man, like she pulled out a good voice and then just like threw it away again. Like
I think it was the edit, because it's so sharp, like changing topics.
Yeah, it feels like there should have been rule of threes on a lot of these, and they're just cutting it after the first joke or something. Like, it feels like she's going to go more into something, and then it's just over. Like, I mean, maybe that's just her style, but it definitely feels
going
like
back to generational. Is this a millennial thing?
Yeah, I mean, every generation seems to have less of an attention span, so maybe it is a TikTok brain thing where you just got to keep moving on. But like, I feel like rule of threes is still at least energetic enough to keep the TikTok generation going.
Yeah, people like a good pattern break and whatnot. So yeah, rule of threes is still a classic.
Yeah, the classics never die.
My shoulder, and I'm like, okay, crazy night. I'm a bisexual on a crazy night. And every day. I'm in Brooklyn. It's contagious. And I'm thinking, hooking up with a girl is not cheating on my boyfriend, right? He does think it's cheating, but that's his problem. He's too progressive, He thinks women are people who you could have a meaningful connection with. Like, ew, you're not respecting my sexuality, okay? I identify as an opportunist. And that was really my night, The correct reaction is, can I watch? And that's it. Like, let's get on with our lives. So she's massaging my shoulder and then my back. And then she kind of grazes my side, and I turn around and I realize she was just slowly falling to the floor. Yeah, what I thought was a romantic moment was a woman in dire need of help. So we got her over to an Uber, and the whole night when I was on the dance floor, I was like really feeling myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm so attractive. People are just drawn to me. But that woman was just looking at me in her ketamine addled haze. She was like, that girl looks really sturdy. That's
a horrible audience shot. What the fuck are you even doing? What are you showing me here?
Just hats.
Yeah, backs of heads and hats, and maybe an out of focus reaction in the background there. Like this, what are we shooting? What are we doing? Why?
How cold is this club? Why are there so many indoor hats?
It's New York, isn't it? So it could be cold time there
in the winter. Yeah,
I'm in LA, so I don't understand what cold is. But.
She was into. Yeah. Do you guys remember when recycling was going to save the planet? Then scientists were like, no, it's too late. But still, separate it. I'm glad we got rid of the straws though, because that was the problem, clearly. I just think we should get rid of straws altogether, right? Like, the substitutions, they're no good. The paper straws, they go limp. I'm like, am I doing this right?
Oh, she's winning me over. My hatred for paper straws is knows no bounds, really.
I see. All right, so you're back on board.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah. She's speaking my language here. Even
What
if,
about pasta straws?
the fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't make it up.
And then we have metal, stainless steel straws. Like, I think that's really sending a message to these turtles. Like, we're gonna finish the job next time. You better watch out. Anybody on the Zoom therapy now? Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Whoa, yeah. Hard cut.
Yeah, like, again, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt still. I still think it's her editor fucking her, and she can't be that bad at transitions. Like, no one can be that bad at transitions.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's clearly like they're just trimming the fat. So maybe there's just, just no punches on the transitions. So like, let's just cut it.
Yeah, it's apparently a 50-minute special, so maybe she's really long-winded and they cut out a bunch of shit. But man, editing's really pissing me off here.
Wow, a lot of well-adjusted woos here. Yeah, Zoom therapy. I love Zoom therapy because I got to watch my therapist give up. Live on it. She was a good therapist when she started out. She was taking notes, agreeing with everything I said, and then 5 months later during the pandemic, she was like sitting in a bathrobe on the couch, yelling at her husband. And then I swear to God, she goes to the microwave and takes a hot bowl of soup out. So for a minute, I was just speaking to the inside of my therapist's microwave. And I gotta be honest, guys, it made me feel amazing. I'm like, I am doing way better than this bitch. Oh my God. Watching my therapist slowly unravel on Zoom, better than Zoloft. Like, that should be prescribed. Like, what are we doing here? We need to change the whole system of therapy. Like, if you're having a bad day, you should be able to be connected to somebody having a worse day. Say you just got broken up with. You could be connected on Zoom to somebody who wakes up with a misspelled tattoo. Like, how?
So I think part of it is the editor is just bored because whoever it is, keeps just switching angles constantly, and it's really starting to get fucking tedious.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like almost like nauseating for you from the amount of camera angle changes.
Basically, yeah. I mean, with it doesn't match the pacing of her comedy at all, and it's very jarring. Like that random back of the head audience shot he just threw in, like just constantly changing for no fucking reason. Like, it's like they're trying to instill a pacing that just isn't there. Like, when you're editing these things, you gotta know the feel of the comedian themselves. You can't just, like, because you're bored, keep fucking slapping buttons. Like, it doesn't translate right.
No, it does give you a little, like, it makes it a little off balance, I would say. But I do like the premise of just, like, digging in on therapists, especially with, like, one, just for all the BetterHelp commercials I get targeted with in general. But like going the angle of like, therapists maybe don't have all their shit figured out either, is a fun area to play around in.
Quite often therapists are the most broken people among us. So that's, why they got into doing therapy in the first place. But yeah, I mean, the premise itself is decent. What's that?
Pay it forward.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's, part of the whole cycle of, whatever, 12 steps or 10 steps or however many steps you want to take. But her premise of watching the therapist degrade in front of her eyes is definitely a good one, and it's not something I've heard before. But that's why I'm like, I wanted to go like a little deeper on that, or get a couple more tags in there about that whole situation. Like, it was, I feel like that's like a ripe premise for sure. Yeah, but again, that's kind of been my feeling about her whole set here, is that, like, I feel like she's leaving too much on the table and not minding the premises enough. But give her a little bit more here. Amazing would that be? Just a full sleeve of no regrets.
And I looked it up. There are hundreds of people who have that tattoo. It's really amazing. A lot of people who had their philosophies changed overnight. They're like, gotta admit, I have at least one regret. Everything's on the line now. Yeah, we all hate social media, right? Yeah, that's why I'm on it all day and all night.
Hard transition again, Jesus. Like, it's
like an ADD special because it's just like, okay, you got your laugh and slam the brakes, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. But it feels like it just feels totally out of place. Like it felt like she had more to say, and like they edited it out. Like I'd really like to see what her unedited performance looks like here, because I definitely think it can't be that hard of a transition every time. Like, it's just so out of place and weird.
Yeah, I hate it for the lies. We all hate it for the lies, right? Like, I don't even trust landscapes anymore. I'm like, I know that's the good angle of the mountain. Okay. Nowhere is that beautiful. I've been to Greece. It's not sunsets and islands. It's stray dogs. That's what you see. Iceland is a pile of mud. You go to Thailand, you see your recycling there. That's what happens. There's so many lies online. I got impersonated on Instagram, which at this point in my career is a win, for sure. Yeah, somebody just created a whole other Naomi Karavani profile, and they posted, crazy story, but I do adult content now. I'm like, okay, could this be a small business? Could I operate this out of a coffee shop? I don't know. Yeah, really the only jobs available to me right now are porn or babysitting. Either way, someone is showing their butthole. We live in the asshole economy, guys. But you go to this other Naomi Karavani's profile, and it has a link that takes you to like an OnlyFans site. I go to that site, and it says, I'm Naomi Karavani, and I'm wet on my bed right now. I'm like, oh my God, that is so off-brand for me. I would not do that at all. If I would do porn, it'd have to be funny, right? It'd be like a little slapstick. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so wet right now. I'm dripping on the floor, and whoops, I slipped in it. You know, that would be my kind of porn. I'm just pulling off 17 pairs of panties one by one. A dick bonks me on the head, I fall back down. What I'm saying, guys, is follow me on Instagram. You never know when I'm going to start doing porn. I'll send you a promo code. I'm unemployed by choice, I guess. I used.
Another, yeah. I know. You call it out. It's just like now it's becoming more jarring.
Yeah.
But
at least she finally gave us a rule of threes there, and threw some more punches out after that premise.
Yeah.
But,
no, I think she's definitely like a solid, like capable comedian, like good. But yeah, it's like you said, I think she's getting fucked by the editing here, or it's just like, or maybe it's not fucked by it, but maybe it's like for her target audience, like just like they don't want to hang out on a premise for that long. Like we just got to keep switching them, keep them engaged.
Yeah, I mean, it could be her editing choice to do that, but like it's extremely jarring. Like it doesn't flow from one joke to the next, so it definitely feels like that's not how it was presented in that room. Like if you had seen her actually on stage, I feel like you'd get a very different take from her whole performance. But I don't know. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I thought it was good. No digs on the comedian herself, but
no, she's capable, certainly.
Yeah, well, let's jump into our third and final comedian for the night. This is Myles Anderson with his special Miles Per Hour. His new comedy special is a unique exploration of living in the middle of the forest on Vancouver Island. So right. A far more specific special.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Give a go for my body double. Always conscious of assassination attempts. It's so nice to be back here on the island, ladies and gentlemen. It's my homeland. Yeah.
Kind of a weird lisp going on, but we'll roll with it.
We'll take it as read.
Yeah, exactly. Also a very small stage, so I won't fault him for not utilizing the stage as much.
I love Vancouver Island so much. I love being surrounded by water. I'm full of chicken strips. I've never felt so good in my life. I love the island so much. It is just so much better than everywhere else. It is the best place in the world to live. It really is. And I think that's because the people here are so nice and everyone is much more calm than on the mainland. And I think that's because you can't just drive straight here angry. You know, you gotta get on a ferry and stare at the ocean for 90 minutes. It really calms you down. I think that's why we have such a low murder rate on the island compared to the mainland. Because, murderers can't drive straight here from Vancouver, A murderer can't come just bombing down the highway towards the island like, oh man, I'm gonna kill this guy. And then they get to the ferry terminal, they're like, damn it! They get on the ferry, they're trying to stay angry, they're just pacing up and down on the sun deck. There's no way that guy is that good at Call of Duty. He was definitely cheating, and he was gonna die. Is that an orca?
All right, man. Even though it's a small stage, that fucker's using it. I'll tell you that.
That's a good point.
It's also the the ferry premise is. I feel it's like. I think I've heard a lot of like New York ferry stuff, but yeah, the like 90 minutes across open ocean sort of stuff is a very, very different thing. Like I feel like a New York ferry is much more angry, whereas like, I mean, I've been to Vancouver Island. He's absolutely right. You can't be angry. It's like too scenic and too serene and too beautiful to fucking carry a fucking anger that far. But yeah.
Totally, yeah. I've not been to Vancouver Island, so I'm just sort of like piecing it together based on this. But no, I'm still getting the premise, digging it.
Yeah, just water and mountains and serene beauty. It's
what are you gonna be mad at? What are you gonna be mad at?
The motherfucker's got a point. I tell you what.
It is beautiful today. By the time they get to Vancouver Island, they're like, I'm just gonna scare that guy. I can't do it. It's too nice out here. The island is a calm place for many reasons, I think another reason, too, is that we have a lot of old money here on Vancouver Island. And old money is very calm, It's a different kind of money. It's a calm money. These rich people have been rich for a long time, and they're never worried about things, In Vancouver on the mainland, it's full of new money people. They're highly stressed out, You ask a new money person where they got their money, they're like, I have like 100 Airbnbs and the pandemic was insane. I had to sell like 3 of them so I didn't have to work for a living. It was tough. It's brutal out there. On Vancouver Island, you ask an old money person where their money came from. They're like, well, in the Third Crusade. My family owned a very successful silk caravan. I don't have to sell any of my Airbnbs. If I need money, I just send a raven to the Knights Templar. Well, the pandemic did not concern me. It was foretold in the scrolls. The only real problem on Vancouver Island is the mountain lions. I don't know if you know this, but Vancouver Island has the densest population of mountain lions in the world. Yeah, I guess it's here. I guess there's a mountain lion here tonight. That's how dense the population is.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I call that crowd work, but good reaction and keeping on it.
Yeah, and he's got just a total likable vibe. He reminds me of a Mike Birbiglia, Pete Holmes kind of mix. Like he's got just a likable, smiley face. Like you just sort of like, he seems unheckleable.
One might call him Canadian.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Comedy club right now. All the Cougars, yes, I knew that was going to happen. Took a huge risk. But yes, we have the densest population of mountain lions in the world. I don't know how this happened. I guess they keep multiplying and they can't get on the ferry, so they're just piling up here.
Good callback. Indeed. Mini callback.
Yeah, but I think according to our definition, it definitely classifies as a callback. It is a new bit and a new premise. So.
Oh, is that canon?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've solidified that.
Okay.
There's probably a real definition, but we're just going to make up whatever the fuck we want.
Such a problem when I was a little kid, I had a conservation officer come to my school and educate the children about the murder cats that were lurking behind the playground. And I'll never forget what the conservation officer said. He sat down and he was like, kids, you'll probably never see a mountain lion, but statistically, mountain lions have already seen you. The scariest thing I'd ever heard in my life. The fear of mountain lions has been burned into me so deeply it is irrational. I live in Vancouver now, in the city, and I went down. I was walking down like a creepy alley the other day, and I heard some shuffling behind me. And my first thought was the mountain lions. Oh my god! They finally found me. And I turned around slowly, and it was just some guy with a knife. Like, I was so relieved. Thank God he's got a knife in case there's a mountain lion around here. Terrifying.
Yeah, that's how you pay off a premise. It zigged and zagged and
simple
still
misdirection. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but generally island problems are very different than mainland problems. I met a friend for coffee in Vancouver a few months ago, and he arrived late to the coffee, and he was all shooken up and, kind of trembly, and I was like, hey man, what happened? And he was like, some guy tried to mug me, but I managed to fight him off, and I was like, oh my god, that's terrifying. And then when I visited my grandmother on rural Vancouver Island a few weeks ago, I knocked on her door, and she came to the door, and she had the same, traumatized, trembly look in her face. I was like, oh my god, Grandma, what happened? She was like, there's just too many hummingbirds. I can't feed them all.
Feed them all.
It's a nightmare. I was raised by hillbillies on the island. I know it's hard to imagine I have very good posture, but I was raised by rednecks, and a few years ago, a relative of mine, he died, and I inherited all of his guns. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess it'll be fun. I could just add some blast into my life. And I went to the rifle range, and I can't really enjoy guns because the ammunition is so expensive. I can't have a good time. Like, I sit at the rifle range, and the only thing going through my head is I'm like, $1, $1, $1, $1, $1. Oh, there's a big one, eh? Well, that's pretty cool. That's $3.
Oh, it's so fucking true.
It is, yeah. It's sort of like a riff on what was it? Chris Rock had his bullet control bit.
Oh yeah.
Classic one where it's not gun control, bullet control. Like if bullets were $100.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the obvious fault in that is if bullets were $100, you would never practice and you would never shoot what you were aiming at, and then it would be worse for everyone. But that's a whole other debate.
Well, that's how you wrote a joke.
That's what I'm here for. I mean, shit. Yeah, but the range thing that hits home. I haven't been to the range in a while. Like, I even fucking switched over to archery because fucking bullets are so goddamn expensive. Jesus.
Would have been a nice coffee.
That would have been a nice coffee.
You can't really, you can't have guns for
tag.
self-defense in Canada. It doesn't work that way here. If you have guns at your place, you have to have them locked behind layers of security. You can't. It would be impossible. If someone broke into my apartment, it would take me a long time to get to the guns. So if someone breaks into my apartment, I basically have to monologue like a Bond villain. Like if someone smashes into my apartment, I'm gonna have to be like, get a glass of wine, walk into the living room. Ah, noble thief. Well done. You have breached my security. What a fool I was, thinking a sliding glass door would be enough. Now, before you beat me senseless and burgle my belongings, I thought I may toast you man to man. Now, my most expensive brandy I keep in that tall safe there in the corner. So if you don't mind, I will get our toast prepared here. You have done well tonight. I didn't even hear you come in, and I think you should be quite proud of yourself. I would say your burglary was almost flawless, sir. Your only mistake being that you allowed me to talk for this long. $1, $1, $1, $1.
Nicely done.
Oh, man,
that's
yeah.
a callback.
That's a great bit there, and I would assume a closer on a fucking shorter set, but dude's got like another 40 minutes to go here, so more power to him.
Yeah, that was well constructed, nicely done. Like, yeah, it just rolls everything up he was talking about. So good.
Yeah, and like the pacing, like having your back to the audience for that long, but still being captivating. That's like a hard thing to pull off, but he was making
good
it work.
like pantomiming and everything. Like,
yeah, the going down the safe and opening,
wiggling of the glass and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, some good like character act out stuff. But
yeah, really painted a scene there. But yeah, I guess let's get down to it then. Who was your favorite?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Team Myles at this point in terms of like favorites, just for like his like one. It's got like a very like tight like structure or like theme for the show, which is helpful because you kind of know what you're getting into. But yeah, I just really was loving his turns and callbacks the most thus far.
Yeah. For me, it's a tough call. Myles started out a little. I don't know. I was a little leery at first, but he definitely won me over by the end of our segment here. But I do think the first Jason Salmon edged him out a little bit, just like purely based on laughs per minute. Like I was just a little bit more consistently laughing with Jason rather than Myles. Like Myles was, more of the storyteller and the picture painter with his words, which was, a fun way to go about it. And, that's not degrading him at all or degrading him at all. Like he's obviously a capable comedian, but I think just, for today, I'm just going to go with laughs per minute. And that was Jason, but like, it's a toss up kind of. They were both really good. I do feel like Naomi, as I said many times, I think she got fucked by the editor. So like, I'd like to give her another chance with maybe another special or something. But she seemed like she had some shit together, but it just, the transitions were fucking killing me, man. Like, it just,
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I definitely like Naomi. I almost called her like Ilana because she was reminding me of like Ilana Glazer from like Broad City. I don't know if you know the comedy duo, but she has that same kind of like confidence, brashness, sardonicness. Is that a word?
the New Yorkity.
The New Yorkity.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, I still think, we'll probably see more of her as well. But yeah, that edited special wasn't doing her any favors.
Yeah.
But
one thing I do have to give her credit for, which I didn't while we were doing it, is she had one bit. I think it was like towards the end of our segment, so it was like 10 minutes into her 50-minute special or something. But she worked in a bit where she said her own name many times and then said, "Go to my Twitter." So like, I do think that is something, especially as like an up and coming comedian or someone that, you know, people aren't necessarily searching out. It's not always funny. You can make it funny, but I do think it is, you know, just helpful as an audience member that, you know, to sort of ingrain in, you know, in their head like who you are and sort of start to create that actual persona of you as a I don't know, like there's a difference between like, you know, a comedian that you know and like some random comedians that we went and saw some random night, you know, like you could see 20 comedians in a night and not remember any of their names. But if, you know, they force it at you, it almost artificially makes you a more notable comedian. Like,
yeah, it's a good point. It's just good marketing. It's like the stand-up version of like and subscribe to some degree, but like, yeah, just making sure that you know that there's, you know, other avenues to follow and that you are putting out content. So yeah, it's a good point and a smart move.
Yeah, and speaking
for
of
audience building.
Yeah. Speaking of which, make sure you like and subscribe to this and to all of the other comedians. And this is Stand-Up Teardown, Stand-Up Teardown, Stand-Up Teardown. Go to standupteardown.com, you know, do all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. And again, check us out on the Green Monster if you can't find the ones that are missing off of YouTube.
For those that don't know, you're not talking about the energy beverage. This is Rumble.
Oh, yeah. I think we're not supposed to say Rumble on YouTube, but, you know, whatever.
They don't let you say that? Oh. Is this even America?
Oh, dude. No, YouTube is not America. YouTube is YouTube. But, you know, there's...
Fair.
I don't think we're at a point where we're going to get shut down yet, but... we might get shut down by copyright, so that's a whole other issue. But yeah, if we do, we'll still be on Rumble. So yeah, go check us out over there.
Hanging on by a thread.
Basically. Yeah. I think we're at 2 strikes right now, so we'll see. Maybe we won't see you next week. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know that much about baseball, so I think we have plenty more strikes to go.
Yeah.
Between the punchlines, they set 'em up, we knock 'em down. Why heckle at the show when you can heckle from the comfort of your own home? It's the Stand-Up Teardown, conducting comedy autopsies. The Stand-Up Teardown now. Autopsies, the Stand-Up Teardown. Yeah, it's the Stand-Up Teardown. Punching up, down, left, right, line by line. It's the Stand-Up